Hello there, you're welcome. Now, this is our first topic, and it's our first lesson this week. It's a lesson where we introduce the concept of trigonometry. And I have to stress that trigonometry is a very wide concept. It's a very big concept, but we are going to narrow it down depending on the CAPS, alignment. Now, what is trigonometry in simple terms? And how do we use trigonometry? How do we apply the knowledge of trigonometry in our daily life? How do we do that? Well, in a very precise way, trigonometry can be found in many fields. The first being navigation, like locating something, surveying, okay, investigating something, for example, trying to identify something within the natural world, in our environment, in a field somewhere that is surveying, then engineering, also architecture. Now, it is the study of the relationship between angles and the length of sides, of a given figure, say a triangle in this case. So when you study the relationship between the angles of a triangle and the length of the triangle, or the different lengths of the triangles, then you integrate, you investigate the relationship between them, then what you're studying is known as trigonometry. Okay, we will be looking into detail. We'll also be looking at the angles. We will be naming them, different names, say theta like beta, alpha, and phi like that. But in very simple terms, trigonometry is simply the study of the relationships between the angles and the length of different sides of a triangle. Well then, how do we apply this knowledge of trigonometry? Well, to apply the knowledge of trigonometry, what I'm going to do is let me share with you right away on the screen. Let me share with you on the screen so that you can have the aspect that we have been talking about, these things we call navigation, which is like locating something. Here we go. All right, so you see, trigonometry, or the knowledge of trigonometry, can be used in the concept of navigation. Navigation, like locating, like for example, currently, if you want to get, for example, a taxi, say to travel from where you are staying to some other place, you will want to navigate. You can go through your mobile application and you search for it and you get one and you board. You navigate, you locate, you can get what is placed where. How do I get to that place? We use trigonometry in that. We also use trigonometry, other than navigation, we also use it in engineering. When we are studying engineering, we use the concept of trigonometry in it. Or when we are applying, engineering covers in itself a lot of things also, for example, mechanical engineering, the engineering of different parts of machines, water engineering, the engineering which is related to the concept of water and, these things of how water can be used to do things, how we can make water flow, and the flow of water can be used to help us in doing some other things, plus a whole other things. Agricultural engineering, when we apply the knowledge of engineering in agriculture, a lot of other things, space studies and stuffs like that. So yes, trigonometry can also be used or can be applied in engineering and in the different fields of what? Of engineering. Other than engineering, trigonometry can also be applied in surveying, okay? Surveying, for example, the government wants to extend the road from where it has stopped to the different parts of the country. They will have to do some survey. They will have to see if of the different options, the one chosen is the best, or how to choose which direction to take when road, for example, is being constructed. Now that involves what? Surveying the land. And surveying the land requires the knowledge of trigonometry. Okay, so survey is one of the fields in which trigonometry can be applied. Now, the other thing we also want to include is the concept of architecture. Architecture, closely related to engineering, is fairly an independent field of its own. Now, in architecture, we study mainly designs of different structures, designs, for example, of a house, designs, for example, of a bridge, design, design of majorly everything, even the design of a car, the design of a spacecraft, and stuff like that. That is studied in the concept of architecture. And architecture applies a lot of the knowledge of trigonometry. So you see, these are just a few areas in which trigonometry has practical applications. And now, after seeing these different areas of trigonometry and how they can be applied, what is the first concept in trigonometry that we are going to be studying? Well, the first concept in trigonometry that we are going to be studying is the concept of right-angled triangle. Because we had seen that trigonometry applies, or it's about the study of the relationship between the angles of triangles and the different lengths of the sides of what? Of the given triangles. So how are we going to start it? Well, we are going to start it with the concept of right-angled triangles. There are different types of triangles, different types of triangles. And by the way, you can even see right from here, from this picture here, you can see that this structure here, standing right up here, just use some color so that it's easy for you to see. So for example, these different structures. So if you see, for example, this structure, this, well, if you see this structure or these ones here, they form some type of what? They form some type of triangles. You can see this here. You can also see this, even this other one here, plus this. So triangles is what we are going to be studying for now. And not the whole thing about triangle, specifically this type of triangle that we are calling the right-angled triangle. So what is this right-angled triangle? Well, a right-angled triangle is a triangle in which one angle is 90 degrees. Think of any angle that you can find. If one of those different angles is 90 degrees, then that one is a right-angled triangle. A triangle has got three sides. We will be looking at the different what? We will be looking at the different triangles. We will be looking at the different triangles, and of the different triangles, we will be identifying which one is the 90-degree angle before we can go ahead to investigate the different other properties of this what? Of this triangle. And so here are a few. Now you notice that this one here is our first triangle. Now notice that what we are seeing here is that this other angle here, this small angle here that you can see like a square, is the 90 degree. That is how we indicate 90 degree. Notice that in the second triangle, it is right here, the 90 degree. In the third triangle, it's right here, the 90 degree. So for as long as you can see that small square at the end of one, inside one side of the triangles, then what you have seen is a right-angled triangle. Well, then after identifying that this one is a right-angled triangle, notice that sometimes the two triangles, or sometimes two different triangles, are brought together to form, another shape. But we can still split them into what? Into triangles. For example, look at this. So when we look at that, what we notice is, well, rather this lower one here, what we notice is that this other triangle and this other one, they have been placed together. Now, because they are placed together, they have formed some other shape, this time not a triangle. But if we break it down, we notice that this other one is a right-angled triangle because we have what? This square here, which indicates an angle of 90 degrees. And also there is this other triangle, which has got what? Which has got this other lower square, which forms 90 degrees. Just like this lower one. Here, we have got two triangles that are placed together. Now, the thing we notice is that in the first triangle, there is this side here, which forms the what? Which forms 90 degrees. And in the second triangle, there is this other side, which also forms the what? This side also forms the 90 degrees. So generally, for as long as a triangle has got a 90 degree right inside it, then that triangle is known as a right-angled triangle. Right-angled triangles, exist in different shapes. For example, this other one also. So what we notice is this one has got a 90 degree here, and so it's a right-angled triangle. We also have this other one with a 90 degree right here, okay, which is what? Which is forming right-angled triangle, just like this one, also the right-angled triangle, and this one. So basically, all the triangles you are seeing on the screen, all of them are right-angled triangles. So how else, or what else do we want to know about this right-angled triangle? Now that is what we want to look at in our next lesson. So in the next lesson, we will be looking at what do we then do with right-angled triangles. Until next time, that is where we will be stopping.